Hey guys, and welcome to the next part of Maryland's Folklore, originally titled Haunted Maryland. Um, First up is a well-known urban legend. Okay, Black Aggie is the name given to a statue that was placed on the grave of General Felix Agnes in Druid Ridge Cemetery, located in Pikesville, Maryland. People would often break into the cemetery late at night to see if the mysterious lore about the statue was true. Skipping Felix's story. Okay, so a sculptor named Edward Porsch created Black Aggie, a copy of the statue Grief, which stood in Rock Creek Cemetery, in memory of Marion Clover Adams, who took her own life by drinking photography chemicals. Felix purchased a copy of Grief and had it placed at his family plot in Druid Ridge to watch over himself, his wife Annie, and his mother, who are all buried on the plot. The statue, a somber seated figure in a shroud, was installed by the cemetery in 1926 and has been surrounded by countless urban legends since then. Here are just a few. Someone spending a night in the statue's lap will be haunted by the ghosts of the people buried there. The spirits of Druid Ridge used the statue as a meeting place, and no grass would grow on the ground where the statue's shadow lay. At night, the statue would come alive, either physically moving across the cemetery or opening its glowing red eyes. These legends obviously attract unwelcome attention from local teenagers and ghost explorers who were looking for answers to the strange lore. People were caught breaking into the cemetery at night to visit the statue and see for themselves which of the stories were true, as well as vandalizing the pedestal. The Agnes family, upset and disheartened by the statue's attention, tried to donate it to the Smithsonian American Art Museum, which decided against displaying the statue and instead placed an authorized recasting of the original memorial. Black Aggie was moved from museum storage to a courtyard behind the Dolly Madison House on Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C., where she currently rests. The pedestal is the only piece that remains at Druid Ridge Cemetery today. Okay. John Wilkes Booth, May 10, 1838 to April 26, 1865, was an American stage actor who assassinated United States President Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. on April 14, 1865. A member of the prominent 19th century Booth theatrical family from Maryland, he was a noted actor who was also a Confederate sympathizer. Denouncing Lincoln, he lamented the then recent abolition of slavery in the United States. Nestled along the western bank of the Susquehanna River, just north of the Conowingo Dam, the story of Peddler Run became a haunting legend in the small community, furthering Glen Cove. The stream meandering through the woods and emptying into the river carried not just water but also a tale that chilled the bones of those who heard it. The legend begins over 2 centuries ago in 1763 when a peddler known for his travels was found tragically decapitated on the farm of John Violi outside of Dublin, Maryland, on a stream called Rock Run. The locals, struck by the brutality of the act, buried his body in a shallow grave close to where he was found, changing the name of the babbling waters to Peddler Run. Not long after, whispers of a headless ghost walking the creek's banks began circulating. It was said that the peddler's spirit roamed restlessly, wandering right down to Glen Cove, gazing forlornly over the vast expanse of the Susquehanna River. The tale took a twist in 1843 when a local farmer stumbled upon a human skull near the creek. Believing it to be that of the unfortunate peddler, the community decided to bury the skull with the rest of the remains, hoping to give the troubled spirit some semblance of peace. Many thought this act would lay the peddler's ghost to rest. However, the story was far from over. As years turned into decades, the legend of Peddler Run refused to fade away, fueled by eerie occurrences that locals and visitors alike couldn't easily dismiss. Boaters returning to Glen Cove late at night, their minds perhaps already filled with the tales told around campfires, report seeing a spectral figure near the creek. Some described a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy form, while others spoke of a more distinct apparition. A headless figure dressed in tattered garments of a bygone era, standing silently by the water's edge. Every year, as the leaves began to turn and the nights grew longer, the story of Peddler Run was retold with new details and speculations. Some locals theorized that the ghost was searching for justice or perhaps for his lost head. Others suggested that the spirit was a guardian of the creek, watching over the waters that had been his final resting place. The legend of the peddler's ghost is a reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of the familiar. With its whispering waters and rustling trees, Peddler Run stands as a testament to the enduring power of stories, the kind that stay with us long after the campfire has died down. Okay, so this one I found on WikiTree. Okay. John Clark Monks is famous in Harford County, Maryland, for his exotic tomb located in the Spezia Episcopal Churchyard in Perryman, Maryland. On the side of his tomb is carved the following: in memory of John Clark Monks, a native of Bristol, Gloucestershire, England, who departed this life December the 9th, Anno Domini 1827, age 67 years, 9 months, and 14 days. Okay. According to an article in the Baltimore Sun, John Monks was buried with his body hanging from chains that were suspended from the marble tomb, so his body would never touch ground. Other family members share this tomb with him. One is his second wife, Sarah Rebecca Lewis, who died in 1854, and his daughter, Mary Minerva Monk Lewis. Mary Minerva was married to William T. Lewis, and according to the inscription on the tomb, died in New Orleans in 1837. Her bereaved consort went in his presence, inscribed on this monument an unfading sketch of her character as they now stand forth fresh and beautiful in his memory. The entire tomb was obviously put in place in 1837 by the husband of Mary Minerva. John Monk's remains were hung by the chains underneath at this time. There is no way to tell how he was buried before the tomb was built, and no way to verify the claim of being pickled in rum. I'm just gonna stop there for John Clark Monks. Okay, lastly is the Jericho Covered Bridge. Straddling the line between Hartford and Baltimore counties lies an old covered bridge, one whose history is steeped in folklore and strange hauntings. Built post-Civil War in the year 1865, the Jericho Covered Bridge in Maryland is the continuation point for Jericho Road over Little Gunpowder Falls, and it's still in use today. Maryland's Jericho Covered Bridge is the only remaining covered bridge in Baltimore and Hartford counties. It is approximately 88 feet long and just under 15 feet wide. It was originally built for horse-drawn carriages. Hovering 15 feet above the water below, the covering of the bridge provides a clearance of around 12 feet. Over the years, this Bull Arch Truss Bridge has been restored to include new 2x4 wood boards, a new roof, and steel girders underneath to allow for the safe passage of heavier vehicles. Rehabilitation projects on this covered bridge were done in 1937, 1983, and 2015. The Jericho Covered Bridge joined the National Register of Historic Places in 1978, and it was also added to the Baltimore County Landmarks list. It's no secret that historic places sometimes have a dark past. However, nothing concrete has been found to explain some of the strange happenings reported around the Jericho Covered Bridge. There have been many chilling reports of apparitions throughout the years, several of which haunt witnesses for a lifetime. Some folks driving late at night told tales of their cars stalling for a few minutes while in the middle of the bridge. Many others have even reported handprints on their vehicles. While at this haunted-covered bridge in Maryland, many witnesses have reported seeing a girl carrying a basket of flowers and or a woman with a badly burned face. There's also a local legend about a monkey-like creature with a long tail that protects the bridge. There's another tale of a red-eyed demon who lives under the bridge in order to keep away those he deems unwanted. The most horrifying tales, however, have come from those who have seen shadows of people hanging from the trusses above.